Good morning, Voodoo.
What's up? What's up? I feel like we've been talking on Twitter Spaces all morning.
Just a little bit of bear market building, got to be there for
Yeah.
the community.
Yeah, honestly, when I hopped into the space and it was just you and Illuminati Congo, I thought because I was driving and my phone like disconnected from Wi-Fi to regular, and I was like, oh, it's just not showing me the listeners.
Yeah,
But no, it was just you two having a chit
yeah.
chat.
Real
So
tight, real tight.
it was good. We had like a planning meeting,
Yeah.
but
Uh,
no, it was awesome. So
yeah, I mean, it was awesome to, we got to connect a couple artists together for a project that might be coming through Potluck, which is awesome.
oh, I
Yesterday
love
was massive for us. Get to sit down with the Fantom Foundation and talk the state of Fantom NFTs. What'd you think about that talk?
it. Yeah, so I really appreciate Juan and Nick for starting a dialogue. I mean, you can't ask for anything more than being willing to start connecting with the community. And they've already showed that through Juan doing his profiles of community leaders. And I think what he's doing in the foundation, like his role, you mentioned this earlier, is important, and it's only going to keep growing in his influence as he is the connected person to the community. And he said like his focus was all DeFi before, so I'm guessing he already has some pretty good connections on the DeFi scene. So I'm really excited for the efforts they're making. I feel like we need to do this like on a weekly basis. It doesn't have to be like we can help co-host and stuff, but we need to do it to bring in other speakers, other builders in the space to be able to open a dialogue from different perspectives. And I think AK mentioned it on the Twitter Spaces earlier about having people like Tomb Heads. And we had Sarge on there who's been building from the beginning, but having people that are on the ground floor. I mean, I love Slotopia on there talking as well, just from the GameFi metaverse perspective. Maybe Erebus building a marketplace. I mean, there's just so many different sectors of this NFT space that could benefit from action. Yeah, the attention's good, but also from some action to back up what they're doing. And man, I don't know if you watched. Did you watch the Phantom Unchained episode, the FTM alerts last Thursdays?
Was that I seen was that the one that Beavis was kind of talking almost to the foundation
Yeah,
about
yeah.
what
There
they
was
need to do?
there was
Yeah,
some
I did see that.
unhappiness. But they've got Nick on there with the awesome accents. I could listen to him talk all day. He's super intelligent, and he made a really good point that um, that the foundation doesn't need to do the marketing for us. What they need to do
No.
is support the marketers, support the people who are already doing it, um, because that's how most companies are built. The foundation is really like business to business, not business to consumer. So their job shouldn't be communicating with all the users. Their job should be to empower, support, fund all the people who are to get the message out about what's happening. And I think it's a really simple switch, both on DeFi and the NFT side, to allocate some funds to support both in real life events, to support the mission of what people are doing on social media. But uh, but yeah, man, I'm like short term, everything sucks right now, and it sucks. Thank goodness for Luna, so we're not the biggest embarrassment in crypto right now. But long term, it's awesome to see who's building in the bear. It's awesome to see the people who are that you thought would be there, but they still are. And it's surprising to see some of the people that fall off and some of the protocols that shut. I mean, Exodia shut down the other day.
Yeah,
That's that's crazy. Like already
yeah,
given up. So, but yeah, man, yesterday was a big day. It was a big
Ye-
day. That and then the growth sessions. We can talk about that. But yeah, what are your thoughts on kind of the
yeah.
foundation?
Uh, my brief thoughts on yesterday's talk could have been way longer. Obviously, as we said, we just it's the shit that we've wanted to talk about for a year now. We had to kind of bundle it all up and get as much out within an hour as possible. Um, but just to touch on just for us where I think that the foundation can make some moves because I think Beavis was spot on in that Unchained episode. Outsource your problems. Um, there's the funding there. So like I had a little list that I wrote down talking to a bunch of different builders in the space. And when it comes to like grants, things that we can be funding with grants, I think a lot of it is helping the smaller teams. Um, we kind of mentioned this to them yesterday that a lot of these grants that get set up are just about bringing in builders from other protocols who come over, get their TVL through the roof, and then they just bail. That seems to have happened every time. So this round of grants, like you want it to set up to help the small teams that have been building from the get-go, that keep building during these bear markets. Um, so I think that's important. But yeah, metaverses. We talked about this yesterday for a minute. The idea of these galleries, being able to set up art galleries in the metaverses, having mint parties and stuff in the metaverse. I think that's a huge area that some funding could go into, because if we're having just unbelievable mint experiences by doing that, by providing the mint experiences that we at Potluck provide, look at the amount of wallets that we've been able to bring into our ecosystem. So now when you start talking about doing these mint parties in metaverses that no other chain has been doing at all, I think that's a big opportunity to bring in users. Yeah, so gallery experiences, mint parties, in real life events. I think that's a massive opportunity, because now it's almost like bringing the utility of this digital world into the real life, and that's where you start pulling in your normies, and that's a big move. I even had the idea of like business. Um, if there was some kind of grants that like started like in real life business. So for instance, you see the Bored Ape Burgers that started up. I think that's an interesting opportunity where you could almost start trying to find like in real life businesses that are going to promote your projects, your platforms, and maybe even like your currency. Like I'm thinking if there was like some business that was set up and it used one of our NFT projects as its marketing, but then there was the option to like be able to use Fantom or Retrieve. Like you could have that option to like pay for that stuff right then and there if you wanted to not use dollars, just to give people the ability to see like, oh, this can work. Like I could buy my coffee with Fantom if I wanted to. I think that's an interesting opportunity. But we talked about this yesterday as well. The merch thing. Um, Again, I don't really want to see swag packs get passed out to everybody. We look weird on Solana when that was going on, but give some promotion to official NFTs. When we have a brand that is literally just being built as fashion on Fantom, uh, I think that's the great opportunity to support a project, and then and now we're all wearing Fantom stuff, which is beneficial. Uh, and that ends with content creation. Put some funds towards content creation. Uh, you know, somebody like Maze. I don't know what Maze does full time, but give that man some funding, because if you've seen the videos that he does, like if that becomes his full time job, that's a massive benefit to the Fantom ecosystem. Uh, Guys like Miles, as much as we've had our little bashes with Miles, those are big pieces. So I think that stuff's really important. But I just want to touch on those are like major things that I think the foundation can come up with, that we weren't really able to touch on a whole lot yesterday.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot planned for the next spaces. I think you have a lot of talking points. And I think that that's kind of where it's different. Is I think that was the biggest maybe disconnect, was that that was more like Juan interviewing us versus flipping it. And so we had a conversation afterwards, and besides having a lot of the time, maybe half the time, just with us making suggestions and kind of bringing some things and maybe directing the conversation. Um, and once again, they're not attacks. This is all like productive. We're not trying to bash them. We're trying to like communicate what the people need. But then also, I wanted them to come prepared with like, what is the foundation? What's going on behind the scenes? What's happening in the NFT world that's exciting for the foundation right now? Because we'll see tweets where they're excited about some big project coming in that we don't know about. It's not Phantom native, but if it can bring over a ton of users, that's exciting. Like, how do we get connected with that community? How do we get that community knowing like the other options of who to connect with, or are they siloed off? And that's what I feel like a lot about a lot of these games. Like whether it's Tank Wars or the Penguin cards, these different things coming in, is it's kind of like its own silo. And the foundation can do a great job of introducing the leaders in the space to mix, and that's really what the foundation wants. They want users who actually use, not just play a game on the network, but actually really use the network. And so I think there's so much potential with small tweaks. So I'm excited. But yeah, it's a conversation that needed to happen and needs to continue happening. And yeah, and I'm glad that we were a part of the beginning of it. That's an honor.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's super awesome to, again, it's been a year of wanting to have this conversation. So to be at the fore to get to have the conversation is great.
Yeah.
And to see the steps that are being taken, like clearly they're listening. Clearly they're hearing the community, and steps are being taken. And now it's just I mean, I think Juan's great. And I think this is gonna snowball further.
100%. Let's talk about the growth sessions. I want you to just kind of give the rundown on that, and your thoughts from sitting in it, because you didn't really do any of the talking. You were there listening to the artists, helping moderate the questions a bit, but really just got to experience it. Um, I think it's going to be something super powerful for the artists in the space.
You're damn right. Absolutely. Uh Man, so like I came up in the space doing AMAs with artists, and I'll always feel like an extra connection to listening to the Flamingo, the Final Export episodes, because there's it's a different conversation when it's collector artist and artist, and collector. Like those are all very different conversations. So for me, I loved yesterday to be able to sit in with teens and a bunch of awesome artists. Uh, Man, just I get emotional thinking about it. Like there's so many awesome moments where we have people that like have never talked on mic before or have been so nervous to talk on mic, and they felt comfortable enough in that space to step up. I forget her name, to hear how nervous she was when she first started speaking and asked teens the questions, and then teens gets his answer out and everybody's super supportive. Just to hear her vocal change, it like the confidence in her voice afterwards was just like that's growth. We just watched an artist grow right in front of our faces from the very first session. And then you had so many other artists step up and ask awesome questions. Um, just a
Well,
great perspective from one art, from your generative stuff. I think this was super awesome.
I mean, I had never even heard Masha's voice, because she was, I guess, maybe just so nervous or embarrassed that English wasn't her first language. And then she was brave enough to speak in that setting, and her English was excellent,
Yeah,
for one.
fantastic.
But then two, it's just so cool because she was really hired by us to like, hey, we have an idea for a project. I think you're incredible. Could you do this art as an NFT and make it generative? And it was all new for her. She had never had any type of crypto account. She had never been in this space. She was not on Twitter. She had an Instagram that she used for her art, and she sold her art through websites like ArtStation, designing for games, different things. So it was an unknown when she did the orcs. This was an unknown space, and I don't think she ever really thought it was anything except a paycheck until she got to see people generating the art and be a part of the mint party, and then that lit her on fire. And now she's like, man, how do I connect? How do I do these things? Like, how do I kind of restart my career as an artist here and get plugged in? And I just thought it was so valuable, for her to have that type of session. But man, it was exciting, and I want people to understand that this is the most exclusive, inclusive thing for artists. You can be on AVAX, you can be on Phantom, you can be on whatever chain. I know we have a lot of AVAX people that will tune into this as well because of the family we're building there. But I say it's inclusive and exclusive. So you have to either be a Potluck Labs artist, like be in one of our projects, that we're partnering with you, or number two, be in our Potluck auctions. And so those things are exclusive. Like not everyone can do that. But number three is something that's 100% inclusive. If you submit a piece of art for our community collection, and the deadline is the 13th, okay, so we only have a few days left. Deadline is the 13th, and then when um, when you submit, you get a role in the Discord, the growth artist role, and that gives you the ability to attend all these growth artist sessions, the private channels. So we want to be 100% inclusive with an exclusive event. Okay, so I don't care if you have nothing to do with Potluck as an artist, but you're just like, man, I want to grow. I want people to mentor me. You have that ability. So hopefully, um, hopefully more people will apply. We may extend the uh, the collection a few more days to give more people a chance. Um, but yeah, man, I'm so excited for it. It was awesome seeing the group of people we had, the diversity.
I
We
want to
did have a
touch
lot
on.
of
I do
artists
want to
there.
touch on the community collection just for a second because there are some there's some people from the Phantom community that I had no idea were artists, and through the Bit Shadows community collection and our community collection, I think are just generally like building massive name. Grumpy Goose. Have you seen all the pieces that he's putting in for these? They're
Yeah, he's in,
unbelievable quality.
yeah, incredible artist. And I believe he's the one who, because of all this, not just because of our collection, I'm taking no credit for this, but because of all these competitions going on, and just creating derivative art of other projects and just really getting in touch with the artist side. I believe he's the one who actually just started his own one-of-one collection, is minting him on a paint swap collection because people are like, man, we want to be able to buy this, like you're incredible. So I just love seeing that happen. And I'm not taking any credit for but that's the type of result we want to see happening from these up and coming artists.
No, and that's that weird like grassroots like things that just kind of happen in our ecosystem, where I generally think we're gonna have a couple new artists that you're gonna know their names, you're gonna want to hold their pieces, and they had never had collections before these community collections.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's just another just awesome grassroots movement from the Phantom community that I think is just gonna resonate big time.
Heck yeah, man. Well, um, a lot of exciting stuff coming up this week. I think we'll hop into the topics. We only have 4 topics. I took out GameFi today because I got to go look at a house, limited time. So I really have to be done on time, maybe a few minutes early because we got to we got to go look at a house today. So because when the market's down, what do? You just move. And so yeah,
Yeah.
we got to because you just keep you become a vagabond and you just keep moving, hoping that they don't ask you to pay your bills. Just kidding. Okay, so what are the topics, Plot with? All right, what's minting? Um, I'll start on our side of things. We have Cyber Phantomic, which minted out on Phantom in just a few minutes into the public sale. There was probably like 150 left after the private sale because it's a smaller collection, and it's sold out right away in public. And then on AVAX, it's total unknown artists on AVAX. Our community is relatively unknown, but we had an awesome partnership that's just come about with Campfire, an incredible new marketplace over there with an awesome team, super nice minting experience, and a really cool rarity system that I think is totally unique that I really like. Instead of telling you it's like rank number 1 or 2, it gives a score, like, rarity score 400, and the higher the score, the better, I believe. So pretty cool. And then so we're doing these like split mints where we did half the collection here, half there, and we did it simultaneously, which is awesome. And I don't know if you just pulled it up, but I think we're around 150, 155 left in the collection, maybe less than that. Not sure.
Yeah, we
Uh,
got 132 left.
132 left, and that's only at zero point 0.5 AVAX. That's going to sell out super quick.
Yeah, when you start, it's funny
Another,
when you look on Campfire and you look at the other collections, size of collections and price. It's almost a no brainer.
yeah, and I'm not, I mean, I would just look if personally, and I've seen other people post this. If I was just hopping on the site and I looked at the art, I would, I personally would mint that, and I mint some cloud heads.
Yeah,
And that's what I did. Like even when that was going on, I was like, I need to mint some more cloud heads because I freaking love those.
yeah,
But yeah, the art stands apart. It's beautiful. It's amazing, and just so excited for Black Cat Dead. I mean, an Indonesian artist came to Phantom. To He was having success, but not big success on ETH and Tezos. And to see him come here and be able to provide an incredible living for his family, and just see his basically artistic dreams start to come true has been pretty awesome. So that's what's minting, the big thing minting for us. We've got a few other collections that are still minting right now. One of the cool things is the strange gods, where you can take one of a potluck pig, a strange one, and a strange pig, burn them, and if you need instructions on that, come to our Discord. We've got them posted, but it's a pretty easy process. You burn them, and then we mint a strange god to your wallet. The total cap on that collection is like 550, and there's already been over 200 created through burning. And so those other collections have all shrank by 200. The floors have gone up. It's been really cool to see. one of our collections finally get to that like fourth gen where there's game theory and stuff. So that's minting. You could go pay 150 Phantom to mint, and some people have done that, but it makes no sense. Just you could buy and burn one of each of those three collections for a lot cheaper than that right now, and that was the goal, is that people wouldn't pay to mint, that they would raise the floors by buying and burning and provide value to all the holders.
Spot on. So a few from outside our ecosystem that I'm looking at. I really like Turnt Turtles. It's music NFT. It's a PFP, but it's got music behind each NFT, and you have rights to the beats behind it. Which so Illuminati Congo and I were just talking like we're just minting beats right now. That's the art is awesome, but for me, I'm minting beats that I'm going to be able to use in whatever I want to use them in. So that's what I'm looking at. Space Legends, we talked about this last week. Just a really cool mint where they're actually giving away a ticket for a zero gravity experience. Uh, and it's by one of Nimbus's friends. I think it's super awesome project. I've noticed Ultimate Doodle Punks. So I really like the Doodle Punks team. This is their third project. Uh, they just cut the mint supply. It was going to be, I think, 1111. They cut it down to 666. So there's just over 400 left for them. And then the other one was, oh, Jim's Burgers. I really want to see Jim's Burgers mint out because Hashi Jim is just such a legend in this community. When we talk about like grow sessions, uh, I would say that Hashi Jim, the Hash Lounge, the Discord, was almost like the original Fantom artist grow sessions, where it was like the little safe space for all the new Fantom artists to get together and to kind of feed off each other and learn from each other. And yeah, I would love to see him get the support that he deserves. Oh, last
So
one.
that, yeah,
Phantomized Patronus. There's less than 100 left. I really like the Phantomized team. I love what they're doing. We've got some stuff that we're working with them. But yeah, this is their third mint as well. Or this might be their fourth mint now, actually. That is literally about to sell out. There's less than 100 left.
yeah. So we do have a project with them coming up. It's We're really waiting on the market to turn around because it's going to be a pretty exclusive project. It's going to be a small supply, but it's very unique. I don't think there's nothing that's ever been done like it on the art style. They're not generative. They're all one of ones. It's incredible, but it's going to go on. It's kind of like our creature of the cave, goddess of the cave type feel. So really excited. That's as much alpha as I'll share, but like that project's done. We're just kind of waiting for the market to rebound to where that team put in a ton of work, like months of work, and we want to make sure that they can get the value that they want out of it. So excited for that in the future. I was asking in the audience if anybody had anything that was minting that they wanted to comment on, but give a shout out to anyone. But if they do, we might come back there. You mentioned something there and I just want to throw this out for some alpha, just what projects I believe they should do. I saw, who was it? Old Man Mikey made a post about this on Twitter a little while back, and it was about what should projects do whose mints have stalled out.
Mm.
And what he came up with was really good. And I would just take, if I was a project, I think you just take these notes and you do it, because Old Man Mike is a huge collector. So if this is what the collectors would like to see, and you can talk to other people, but I think that this is very smart. So what he said is, let's say, for instance, you have a 1,000 piece collection and you're stalled out at 500. Just make it real simple. And there's legendaries that haven't been minted. He said what you should do is you shouldn't airdrop the other 500. Even though it's exciting to see those in your wallet, and there's been projects doing that recently, it's exciting to see them. It devalues everything else because now there's an extra 500 that people can go put on the floor of, it. And so it lowers the value because people start dropping those. The people who want it out now have three or four more that they're going to sell, and the price keeps lowering and lowering. And when you check out the floors of projects who do it, I've never seen a floor rise after they airdropped the remaining supply. It's just a fact. It may have happened, but it's a fact to me. Sorry. So I've never seen it. But then Old Man Mikey said what you should do is you should take all the legendaries and raffle those off so that a random winner who doesn't have theirs listed can have theirs swapped out or just added, added to the what they get. That can be airdropped to their wallet. So you all the extra hard work that goes in those legendaries that can go to bring more value to the buyers. You don't do the others. And then he said he likes the idea, and people can take different takes on this, but he likes the idea of doing a mint cutoff at a month, because a month in, if people still aren't minting, his view was, now it's time to move on with the project and take it what the market dictates is what you should do. So I think that's some great advice. Take it or
Mhm.
leave it. But if I was running a project, especially with today's climate where the market's down, if things have stalled out, that could be a great approach that maintains the value, gets people reinvigorated by those legendaries being airdropped, and allows you to move on to whatever the next phase of your project is.
Right. No, that's great advice. Yeah, so it's something that, like, well, I mean, we've battled with multiple times for different projects, and that, yeah, there's a bunch of different ways to do it. So for us, like, you know, we added some game theory to future generations as a method to have a mints kind of allow themselves to extend out. Something like strange pigs, for instance.
Yeah.
I mean, had we not had the whitelisting issues with that mint, there probably wouldn't be any problems with it. But yeah, for that's something that, they're you're starting to see them get minted as people are realizing, oh wait, there's I can't go get a strange pig on NFT key for less than mint price now. I need to mint
Yeah.
one of these things if I want to burn.
Yeah, I think I'm talking about your typical just art collections.
Yeah.
If there is something coming with Gen 2 that's like a game, if there's a game coming and you need more users, then you got to think differently. Yeah, maybe you airdrop and lower the price, you do something like that because you're just trying to bring in more users. So you should think high supply, low price to bring in the people. But for the most part, or you have like a burning mechanism coming up. Like that's why we left the mint open for the strange pigs is, well, let's say people start burning and the floor rises above mint price and gets to be going higher, well then people will mint. So it makes sense to leave it open at least till the burning phase is over. So
And it's
somebody
like,
mentioned what's winning World of Yamaloka, incredible art. It's just like everything out there, man. You look at the floor prices when crypto's all going to shit. I mean, the floors are terrible. Like
yeah.
I see the little sales bot coming up and like seeing some of those sell for like just stupid low prices. And I'm like, dude, I would hold these if there was nothing else to come for the project because the art is incredible, but there is stuff to come. They are building a world. Like, so I would love to see more mints there, but also it's a lesson in the communities. Like, man, if you want to support a project and you buy to support a project, then you got to hold the floors up, because if you want it to mint out, it's on secondary. So people are going to be buying the ones that are way cheaper than they are going to be minting until the community says, you know what, let's get the floor to where it needs to be. And then let's not sacrifice it. And it's hard to do, but projects can do it. A lot of times you only have to buy like 10 to 20 to get the floor above mint price again, and everything's back to rocking and rolling. And that doesn't take that much work. So
Well, on that topic, like Cloudheads is, I think, a great example of that. The way the Cloudheads community, like, we're only 27% minted from the 10K, but the floors are holding up great. They have the burn mechanism that's mixed in, so it's a mint that can kind of play itself out. But because the community is so strong and is like holding up the floor, this all can work. But you're right, the community is a big part of this as well.
definitely. All right, underrated project. So that one, kind of throw in World of Yamaloka in that one. That's definitely underrated. I just look at when I'm looking on Twitter right now and I'm seeing who's working and who's building right now, despite the fact that their funding may have dried up, despite the fact that when they did their mint, they were thinking about a $2 Phantom, or when they started their project 2 months ago, they were thinking of a $2 plus $3 Phantom, and now it's 58 cents. Seeing the people who are still building and are not deterred, yeah, it may take longer because the funding's not there. Yeah, it may be tougher. You may have to have a job and do this part time if you're an artist. But there's just so many people still fighting through, still building. I saw Bit Damon's coming out with like a totally revamped, incredible website where you can really dive into that world. I'm very bullish on the Doctor, Lucky Luciano, and Arcane and what they're building. Very bullish on Edge, Technician, and Woven. I'm very bullish on Regen and the Doodlepunk team with what they're building with their new platform. Forgive me for blanking. What's the name of their? I always blank on it. Their It's like their Potluck Labs,
Crown Labs.
Crown Labs, yeah. Um, Also underrated, Maze. He's in the audience. He just started coming out. Like he's been putting out art, and he just started like this last week. It may not have been his first week, but first week that I have been on in a little while. And to see that he is now auctioning 101 pieces, incredibly talented. I think he's just, you mentioned earlier, but he's an underrated asset to the ecosystem with what he brings to the table. Who else do you have for underrated artists?
Uh, yeah, I you said it spot on. This is a great time to look at the teams that are building when funds dry up. So when Phantom is, a third of the price when we're minting these things, yeah, I'd be supporting the Bit Shadows team, Limit, and Septa. Be trying to grab as many pieces from them as possible. When it comes to Funeral and L, I'd be trying to grab as much of them as possible. Some of our GameFi teams, like the Bobbleheads team, the Slothtopia, uh, what are the Shroomies, the Shroomies team that have a game for us coming. Uh, yeah, there's quite a few teams, Tombheads. There's quite a few teams around the our ecosystem that are just as active in the community when Phantom's at 55 cents as it was at $3. And to me, that makes them underrated.
Definitely. Let's go to artist spotlight. Um, I'm blown away by the talent that we're seeing in like the blooming of artists on the AVAX community. We're seeing what I think happened in Phantom because of Tombheads. We're seeing that start to happen right now for AVAX. And because we're blending our families together, we're getting rid of these like silos and saying, look, man, we're all here. We're collectors. We're people trying to make profits. We're people that believe in the mission of crypto, like all these things. It's art. We're NFT collectors. Like, why do you have to just say, I'm only going to support artists on this chain? Like, let's help artists everywhere. Like, we mint on Phantom and AVAX. Why we do it for our artists? Because with the market right now, they probably couldn't sell out the collection size just on Phantom. So we need to go to multiple chains. But then also, how can we bring value to those chains? Well, let's give their artists an incredible experience. And like just hearing Tunch and Tunch talk about how, he went what he said 4 months on
Mhm.
OpenSea and was on spaces like every day and only sold one NFT because he's a photography NFT artist and that's different. And then once he came on our auction, I don't think we had much to do with this, but maybe just the confidence. He came in our auction, sold, and then his collection sold out a couple days later. Then he released the first part of a new collection. It sold out in minutes. How many? Like 10 minutes or less? The whole
Yeah, less
collection.
than 10 minutes, the whole collection.
And just to see that's what happened with Teens on Acid, his story coming to Phantom, seeing that happen. Like Phantom is a special place that once people get exposed to like our ecosystem and now AVAX has that same potential because they have very tight knit NFT communities. It's just not been for one of one artist to have that same type of experience. And so, anyways, I'm just excited for what's happening there.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. Again, it's like it's creating a culture that I think we talked about this with the foundation, like the grassroots culture. Like you want to empower that because then anybody coming into the system kind of just adapts with that culture. Uh, so yeah, to see that we're kind of just bringing the art culture with us to other chains, and now you're seeing the artists on these other chains uh, start freaking out about it. And now, every day we have a space. Like there's another collector that pops up and says, "Yeah, I'm on AVAX, and I'm looking a lot more at one of one art now. Like I've got my eyes definitely on the one of one art now." Like to me, that's huge. And then again, you're creating these massive experiences where now more and more people are going to tap into it and want to be a part of it. Uh, you know, Yesterday during our ghost sessions, we're already talking about the idea of like we might have to have an AVAX auction soon enough because there's just there's so much talent on AVAX, and now the market is starting to come there. So yeah, I'm excited for what's coming. I know it's a crazy bear market, but this shit excites the hell out of me.
Yeah. No, and Southern Empire, I don't think, they're definitely not an underrated project, but it's talking about these, artist spotlights. Like, you can't amass much more talent together than putting SEPTA and Limit Break, in the same project. and just the amount of work they're like. I don't know. Some artists, I'm not calling out any names because I'm literally not thinking of a specific person, but a lot of artists will their generative will be less effort maybe than their one of ones. They may see it as just money and they don't really put in the time and effort. And to see the amount of time, work, intensity, focus that they're putting into their upcoming generative and that they did with the bit shadows is it's truly inspiring. And I think for artists, you can just look at it and know like, man, these are pros. These are pros who have dedicated their life to art and now they just have this medium of NFTs, and they're not just they're dedicating whether it's in their comfort zone or not. Probably is for Limit Break, maybe not as much for SEPTA, but they're also dedicating their life to connecting with their audience, and it's truly incredible. Like I love what they're bringing to the space. It's
Yeah,
not too many people better.
and again, when you have these kind of artists have these success stories, because we know that's going to be an insane mint that's going to mint out immediately, and people are going to go crazy about it. Uh, yeah, when you start to have all these success stories, it goes back to almost what we're the chats we had during the Creatures of the Cave 2, when Nimbus and Hex, you could just see them pushing each other to another level. I think that's just kind of naturally going to happen in this whole ecosystem where these artists are that start partnering together and doing projects. Like it's just going to push the next project to be better and better.
Maze said that Limit Break and SEPTA are Tupac and Biggie on the same track.
Yeah, yeah. That's so good.
That's awesome. So let's talk about labs projects. Finish up there. This will be a quickest episode of NFT Alpha by far, but I could talk about our projects for the next 20 minutes easily. But
Yeah.
I don't know how much alpha I want to share. I mean, we've got an interactive NFT project coming out. I'm not going to share much more. I want it to be a super surprise for people and a lot of fun. Um, Definitely be something to keep your mind off the bear market. Be something fun to do, fun game to play. But we partner with a Tezos artist who makes interactive NFTs, also partnering with Opera House and helping to bring that so people can like play the game directly through the marketplace. But it's going to be a labs mint, like totally a labs mint, which is going to be exciting. And so once again, exclusive and inclusive. Why is it exclusive? Because you have to have labs. You can't buy it with Fantom. I mean, people could resell it with Fantom on the marketplace, and they might do that. But we're also going to make it really cheap so that you don't have to be like a whale in Potluck to get one. Lots of people will be able to afford it because we want it in a lot of hands, and we just decided that would be the best way to do it. We also have a super secret. Maybe it's not as secret, but we have an incredible collection coming out by Hex, which I'm just going to tell you, if you want to own it, then you need to have a super serum or a super creature. And you can maybe scoop some. The floor was swept the other day when I dropped a little alpha on this. Um, but also,
or
you can
or a
still
bit
mint.
zombie, right?
Yeah,
Was
this
a bit
is
zombie the other one?
yeah, if you own a bit zombie as well. So on our
Okay.
side, it's going to be a project that rewards the holders of maybe our most exclusive collections and also helps with the value of those collections because we want those values to go up and want people to be rewarded who invest the most money. I mean, that's the way it should be. So yeah, on Hex's side, I think it'll reward everyone who owns a bit zombie, but good luck sweeping those floors because they're not low, or a super serum. And there's only 233 super serums or super creatures that are owned right now, and there's 77 that can still be minted on AVAX. So if the floors are too high or you're on the AVAX side, just go on our website, mint one. And I'm just going to say that we're going to have a super exclusive collection of bit creatures by Hex. So very excited about that. Um, we also have Danetron coming up. I mean, that's what we have. Danetron this week. We have Necro Fox next week. Then we have Sick Individual, and then we have Bot Boy. So not a bad next 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's crazy. To touch on Friday the 13th, Hunters of Evil, dude, Dantron, another one of these pros. Like when I look at all the artists that we've worked for, like he to me he's like a teens type of guy, where there there's clearly a brand being built. There's a style being built. Like he's just coming into his own. I love the creativity that he has across his collections, and I'm constantly getting little airdrops for holding different stuff. Like, he is an artist who's always just trying to bring value. So I'm excited for, an artist with that mentality, and us with the bring value mentality, to be working together on something. I think it's super awesome. I also
Heck
really like
yeah.
that mint structure. I think it's gonna be a really fun mint structure.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I mentioned it earlier with Campfire, but why don't you talk about that for a second with how we're doing that and really why you think it's going to be so exciting?
Yeah, so we split the Black Cat one like 50-50 on Phantom and Avax. Now we understand that our community right now is not split 50-50 yet.
Mm.
We've been putting in a lot of work with the AVAX community, and I'm excited to continue to bring the culture over there. But to me, that the omni-chain technology gives us a great ability to kind of do this stuff. Where this mint we're doing 777 on Phantom, 333 on AVAX. So it basically gives both communities the opportunity to get in a mint at scale as to what they are for our community. But then the incentives that are also mixed in to go cross chain to mint become kind of interesting, because there's only 333 on AVAX, but there's going to be one custom on each, like a fully custom where you get to sit down with Danetron and get him to draw what you want. There's only one on each chain. So if you're minting on Phantom, well, you got 1 in 777 odds. You're minting on AVAX, well, that's less than half, or more than double the odds to get that. So, and then again, immediately traversable. So for us, it's just the it's going back to being very analytical about how many wallets do we have on each side of these communities, and how do we just have this awesome excitement with a synchronistic mint party again. Because I think this could be the mint party where you have two chains minting out immediately, and that going to Twitter right away and everybody freaking out about it. Because I think that's big. I mean, it's huge for any project. Those moments after the mint, when it hits the Twitter, and people are showcasing them. So I think when you have simultaneous mints that sell out on two chains at the same time, yeah, I think that causes a little something. So we're gonna try it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think, you know, you got to be creative. When the market is doing this, you got to be creative. This is a collection in a booming market that, I mean, should fetch high amounts of Phantom or AVAX. In the bear market, it's, man, how do we always, we're asking, how do we structure this mint in the best way that it provides a good deal for people? Like, all the collectors are like excited to buy it, because I think that's the biggest thing right now. It's always about the value you're getting for something. Is this worth me giving up this Phantom or this AVAX for this project? And when the market's bad, it takes more and more value. You have to over deliver. And I think at the prices that we pick, 25 Phantom on a 777, option or piece collection here, where about 70 of those are going to be the free airdrops for his holders and for ours. So about 700. And then on the AVAX side, you don't find a mint where there's 333 at 0.35 AVAX. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So when it's going to be the same thing, people are going to go to Campfire. They're going to see that artwork. They're also going to see Cyber Phantomic, and they're going to mint for that alone. And then when they discover the ecosystem of Potluck, hopefully the brand really starts to take off over there. And I think that's what will happen. I'm also just, you mentioned the legendaries and stuff. There's so many, like
There's so many.
8 unique 101 legendary characters, 8 build your own from the assets, and then 2 tickets to create your own. Like, that is a ton for 1,000 piece collection. Like, that's
Yeah.
unreal. Or 1,100 piece collection. So yeah, man, I'm excited. We got a big week ahead of us. It's funny, like the auction tomorrow, it's loaded. It's absolutely loaded. We got 24 incredible artists. And I just want to say, if any artists are watching that didn't get picked, don't be discouraged. It's tough. We had a lot of applicants, and we had to be really, I guess, choosy. It's not a judgment on your art. It's just, hey, it didn't happen this time. Keep growing, keep working. There's tons of avenues to get your work out there. But those who are in it, man, we got to share the artwork. We got to let people know. And this is something for artists. When the market's bad, you got to do extra marketing, like extra connecting. It's not even marketing. Just reach out to all your previous buyers. Let them know every piece that you have that's going up for auction. Like, be personable, connect with your buyers, and you won't have a problem. Your supporters are still going to support if they can. And so, yeah, that's all we got this week. I think it's going to be a fun tomorrow at the auction, midweek auction. Last week we had 170, or 2 weeks ago, 171 people on. I think about half are working at McDonald's now.
Yeah.
And so, maybe they can get a break during their shift. And, but yeah, it's going to be awesome. So, Tinfoil, man, love building it with you. Plot twist. I know you got your back thrown out and you're just laying there like a, crippled old man on your bed, but it's just what it's like to be old man Mikey for a day. So
Yeah,
get
yeah, there
better,
you go.
man. But yeah, for Tinfoil, True Voodoo, man, NFT Alpha out. We'll see you in 2 weeks or next week. We'll see you next week.